Camera, action. You've made it back to the podcast / audiobook, and we are in chapter 2 of book 2 of the Mental Files, Dr. John Doe. And let me explain to you what that is. This is an audiobook / podcast, and if you missed book 1, too bad. No, I'm just kidding. Don't go away. Don't get offended. I'm going to tell you how you can see and hear book 1 for free. If you go to the nurseann.com, that's Ann with an E, nurseann.com website, there is a podcast tab. If you click on that, you can hear every single chapter in order, starting with book 1. And we've made it to book 2 and chapter 2, which we're going to jump into in a minute. And Nurse Ann, what makes this audiobook / podcast? Well, as an indie author and a nurse on the front lines of emergency and mental health for 30 years and still going, I created this fictional drama series in my free time to highlight struggles that people go through, to destigmatize mental health, to help us be advocates for ourselves and others. And the podcast part is, after I read you the chapter for free, we will break it apart as it relates to real life. Maybe it's our own inner thought battles, life struggles, relationship drama, and just a way to advocate for others, because this series focuses on action, adventure, advocacy, and awareness. And if you are a fellow book lover, fiction lover, drama lover, Christian fiction lover, a healthcare worker, a frontline worker, a church member, a community member, a family member, you will find a piece of your story within the pages of this drama that I created so that you can ride along with the frontline workers and see them rescuing those in crisis, mental, physical, and spiritual. If you want to be a part of this podcast, leave your ideas in your comments, please, and share this video, share this with someone else, because eventually it's going to reach out and help someone, including yourself. So like it, share it, follow it, leave a comment. I will answer the questions as long as they're appropriate. So with that being said, we're going to jump in. But first, let me tell you what we'll be talking about after the first chapter for the podcast. So as a frontline worker, as a nurse of 30 years and still going in the front lines of emergency and mental health, as I said, you can leave comments and I won't get offended, because as a frontline worker, I have been insulted before, even threatened with danger. And some of us have had danger and threats and insults come our way no matter where we work, especially the frontline workers. So thank you, frontline workers. And we're actually going to talk about 3 of the top tips that you could help diffuse those situations before they get out of control, and just talk about frontline workers and some of the danger and the situations they face. And not just frontline workers, but everybody. Anybody that interacts with another person has to deal with tempers and anger. And we're also going to jump into my devotional and talk about something that addresses that also from this chapter. So let's go ahead. I know you didn't come for commercials and all that. So we're going to jump into the Mental Files. Book 2 is Dr. John Doe by Nurse Ann. That's me, your favorite indie author. And also, if you're a true fiction lover, a true drama lover, an advocate, frontline worker, whatever, you can also follow along on this book club at the nurseann.com website. In addition to the free podcast tab, there is a link on the front page and on the store. You can get the individual books if you want, but I just made it easier, and it's almost free. In the Mental Files First 6 Stories edition, you're going to get the whole season. And I call it a season in these episodes because this was written for, and one day it's going to be a television drama series. Christian fiction meets mental health awareness. Touched by an Angel meets Law and Order, SVU, whatever you think it best fits after hearing these chapters. So you can get this copy for yourself to follow along on the book club. Like I said, it's almost free because I care about your budget. I know we're all on a budget. So check it out. Not to mention I'm an indie author, so it's not that much, but it is worth so much more. I promise you, it's filled with advocacy, awareness, adventure, and action. So I know I'm wasting time. Let's get on. The Mental Files, Book 2, Dr. John Doe. Last time we read chapter 1. So I'm not going to go over that again because if you need to catch up, you'll have to go back on the podcast tab and or get the book so you can ride along on this book club. You're going to love it. So chapter 1 we read was called Runners and Ride-Alongs. We're not going to go over that again because we're going to run out of time. And so chapter 2 is, dun, dun, dun. What is chapter 2 called, Nurse Ann? It is called Trauma and Drama. So just a little peek. They rescued the man that was running in traffic, screaming that he was a doctor. They rescued the confused, disoriented, elderly man, and now they're bringing him to the ER. He's coming to the ER also because he sustained a bleeding head wound after tripping on the curb. So, EMS has come. They picked him up. Now, we're Trauma and Drama, Chapter 2. So, when the EMS crew unloaded the stranger, who is now being referred to as John Doe, onto the ER trauma bed, the lead physician asked them for the details. Does he have any ID? Have you been able to locate the family? What happened? Well, actually, ER MDs aren't that high-strung, so it would probably be, what happened? Anyway, all we know, said the paramedic, is that he's disoriented and claims to be a doctor. Definitely putting himself and others in danger, running in traffic like that, replied the paramedic. The officer is running a missing persons report. And you know that was Officer Leon, the one that likes caseworker Lita. You can follow that relationship in this series too. Anyway, back to the story. So as the skilled ER staff completed the trauma survey and prepared John Doe for a head scan, Nurse Kylena tried to keep him calm. She overheard laughter at the desk as the staff joked, "No way this dude is a doctor. Yeah, he probably lives under the bridge." As Kylena gently cleaned his wound, she hoped he did not overhear the ridicule, whether the premise was true or not. Wheeling him back from the scan room, they passed by the busy ER rooms. Screams of pain, call bells, bing, ding, ding for nurses, family members arguing, and beeping medical alarms clamored for the attention of staff. The noise and excessive stimuli honestly seemed to get John Doe even more confused and agitated. When the nurse attempted to obtain a blood sample, she was barely able to duck in time before the punches and kicks landed in her face. Security and the ER tech quickly put the restraints on the angry patient. Kylena hoped to spend some more time with this frightened man to attempt to calm him down. Her plans were quickly dashed when she heard the charge nurse yell for her to get ready for the next incoming patient. Another hectic day, bemoaned the exhausted nurse. Guess what? That's the end of Chapter 2, Trauma and Drama. Chapter 3 is Adrenaline and Prayers. So as I said, if you want to catch up, go to nurseann.com, and with an E, follow the podcast tab. Also, just get the complete series, all the episodes in one book, the Mental Files First 6 Stories edition. And now, as I promised, we're going to talk about how it relates to our own life struggles, inner thought battles, and today is especially we're going to be devoted to frontline workers, just anybody on the job. It can even just be in your family, the community, when you encounter angry people that might want to take it up to the next level, and we're going to talk about ways to deal with that. Let's start with the top 3 ways that I've figured out or seen work as 30 years and still going on the front lines of emergency and mental health. As I said, I've been insulted, yelled at, slapped one time. Thankfully, nothing worse, but I've seen a lot of people had those types of things happen to them. People do get hurt on the front lines in healthcare, and I'm sure you've been insulted and yelled at in your profession. Maybe, maybe not. But anyway, so the top 3 reasons. Number 1, things you can do to help diffuse a situation and calm it down when someone's angry, venting their fury, venting their complaints, and they just want you to hear. Number 1, that I've seen this work over the years. It's not always easy, but if we practice and have some compassion and think about trauma-informed care to guide our actions and our thoughts and our decisions, trauma-informed care, if you think about what people have been through in their life might be bringing them to how they relate to people now and why they're so angry and venting their fury on you. So number one, show some respect, some eye contact, some dedicated listening. Just be quiet for a minute, let them vent, let them get some of it out. Of course, we don't want to get hurt, but that's actually going to help diffuse the situation. So many people don't feel heard. So many people are lacking attention. They might just be testing you or doing that for that, even though negative, for that attention. And so if we can show some respect, some eye contact, some listening without arguing back, that's going to help a lot. And sometimes that can do it right there. And number two, whatever you do, don't tell someone to, oh, just calm down and relax. No, don't you hate that when someone does that to you when you're all worked up? Don't say that. That's just going to make it worse. And number three is no one to walk away, no one to end that. You don't want to go back and forth. Some people want to get drawn into that and argue back. Don't do it. It's not professional. It doesn't help. It doesn't help calm and diffuse the situation. And so we're going to jump into my published devotional that goes along with that. And this particular one is Word Puzzles Devotional by Nurse Ann. It's biblical prescriptions and wisdom inspired from the ultimate wordsmith. And this is an A to Z format. It's interesting words just linked to real life, and we get some inspiration, some biblical prescriptions to help navigate our journey and how to deal with it. So today is from the letter M. In the word, the interesting word is malacophonous. What does it mean? It means a soft or gentle voice. And you even think about Proverbs 15 where it says a soft answer, a gentle answer, turns away wrath and anger. But angry words back at someone just stir that anger back up. Where we could get hurt, we don't want that to happen. So yelling and anger saturate the world. You can be just about anywhere and witness a display of impatience and flaring tempers at battle. Just watch almost any reality show, anything. Just driving in traffic is enough to cause a meltdown from an otherwise peaceable person. The title of a book by Dr. Charles Stanley is another evidence of the enormity of this problem. The title is Surviving in an Angry World. I have that. I should have shown you the picture, but it's a great book, Surviving in an Angry World. What is the solution? Fire back your own dangerous arsenal? I'm sure you've heard the saying that anger is one letter away from danger. So as I said, I'm an emergency and mental health nurse. In here it says 29 years, but now it's 30 years and still going. And I don't think I could have survived this field for so long without attempting the practice that we just talked about, suggested in Proverbs 15:1. When we reply with a soft answer, it can help soothe the atmosphere of animosity. It can help. On the other hand, we're reminded that harsh words in return will add fuel to the fire of fury. So more practical wisdom from our guidebook, the Bible, for living. And Proverbs, the book of Proverbs, is full of so much wisdom for finances, for relationships, for everyday life, just whatever you can think about. So you definitely want to check that out. Check out Proverbs 15:1. And as I said, you want to join this fiction book series and also these devotionals. This other one is Energize Health, Body, Mind, and Spirit by Nurse Ann. It's designed to help you propel your total health. So let's get started on that. So you made it to chapter 2 of book 2, The Mental Files, Dr. John Doe. Next time we'll jump into chapter 3, which you don't want to miss. And as I said, you can hear this for free at the nurseann.com website. That's Ann with an E on the podcast tab. Click on that. You can hear them all in order. They're all there in order from the bottom up. There's a couple intermission videos in between, but it's pretty much all in order. And it's so easy. It's free. You don't have to pay to join. Free podcast tab. And you can get these books. You can join right along on this book club. You're going to love it. And I want you to stay safe today as you go about and interact with others, especially if you're a healthcare or frontline worker. And share this video with someone else. It's going to help. Also, it's going to help this little old indie author in this ministry vision of nurseann.com. Have a great day.